Daddy Squared. Gay Dads Save the World.
A daily dose of gay dads on the front lines of the global pandemic.
With Alex McGann and Jan Dick.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Daddy Squared, Gay Dads Save the World. Alex, let's talk fashion.
Right, something which I'm so qualified to talk about. I do all of my work via, video, Zoom or whatever. And there's this woman that I have worked with for years, and she's such a fashion plate. She comes into every meeting in thousands of dollars of clothing and shoes. And before the meeting started the other day, she was complaining to me how she goes into her closet now and she sees that there's all this stuff and none of it matters. None of it matters anymore because there's really nothing for people to see. And I said to her, yeah, my time starts right now. It's when it turns out that the quality of your internet bandwidth and the lighting in the room is more valuable than your thousands of dollars worth of clothing and your, Ferragamo shoes. Yes.
Yes. So now I think what matters right now is how to look good in camera rather than how to have nice clothes.
That's right.
Clothing stores sales go down, good lighting goes up, and if you don't have the ring, you know what the ring is.
What's the ring? What do you mean the ring?
It's the light ring that you put behind your camera when you shoot video or photographs, and it makes you look $1 million.
Yeah.
So I think these sales will go up now.
I think the other funny thing is, I'm not kidding. You can tell the difference between the people who either live in the right areas or have invested properly in the quality of their bandwidth. So I don't mean to get too technical here, but for those of you who don't know, there are two speeds to your internet connection. There's the downstream speed and the upstream speed. And when it comes to video and how you look to other people, it's the upstream speed that matters. And you can have a screaming fast internet for watching video at home, but if your upstream speed isn't good, you look pixelated, and that's not in fashion anymore.
So today we're calling New York. We'll talk with Alex Morton-Adams. He's a United Airlines pilot. And before we go to the interview, I just wanted to say that one of our guests who we talked to on day 10, Stephen Scott, he's just announced he was tested positive for COVID-19. So he's at home and he's...
How's he doing?
He told me that so far he's doing well.
Good.
He's just tired a lot. It's just tiredness, and he misses his kid. He tries to help him with homeschool, but he said that it's not going as well as it used to, of course.
Look, let's be clear. Much like Madonna, he's going to blast past it like it's nothing.
We hope so.
Nah, it's just the way I see the future.
We send you lots of well wishes, and now we're going to our interview. So let's call New York. Let's call Alex. Alex, would you call Alex, please? In New York.
I don't know if that's funny. I don't think it's funny. Alex.
Hey there.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're good.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And as you may know, we're doing this podcast to talk to people who are, essential workers and on the front lines of all of this stuff. And we wanted to ask you to tell us what you do and how it's changed during this pandemic.
Well, first, I'm humbled that you asked me as an airline pilot. I didn't really consider myself an essential worker, especially when you think of, like you said, those on the front lines and in the hospitals and really risking everything for their jobs. But so I'm an airline pilot for United Airlines, and it was my dream since a little boy to fly airplanes, and United in particular. And I worked my whole life to attain that. And flying around the world on a Dreamliner, Europe and Asia, and it's just been a dream come true.
Ooh,
so
you fly the Dreamliner. The Dreamliner is so cool.
Yes, and they still have the new car smell. It's really cool.
I'm sorry, but in the ads before that plane started to actually exist, there was always like a bar and like a discotheque on the top level, and it's
that's
never
how
I
imagine it.
I know, no.
We never got to see that.
It really needs to have a mirror ball. It really does. But all right, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing those on any United Airlines airplanes anytime soon. But so this whole coronavirus thing has flipped that on its head, upside down from going to Europe and enjoying my layovers, and just the job was great. I didn't have to take my job home with me. I get home from work and it's there, right, and I'm home. But this has just changed everything. I go to work to resupply, hospitals with cargo flights. We have cargo only flights now, with a belly full of supplies for the hospitals. And we have flights where we bring a Dreamliner to Europe that can hold 320 people, and we come back with 15 stranded Americans.
Wow.
So it's been quite a change.
So are you saying that you guys are using the passenger planes as cargo planes?
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just curious. So why is that necessary? If there are cargo planes that exist anyway, is it that they're literally tapped out?
They're tapped out. They're full. They're stuffed. Wow. Especially now with everybody ordering from home. Right. They have cargo only airlines that are doing all that, and they're just packed to the gills. So we have, and passenger airplanes, a lot of times they are stuffed with cargo anyway, so it's passengers and their baggage and everything. On top of that, we sell space to bring freight all around. So now we have these planes full of empty cargo bins that have room to bring stuff around and resupply the people who need it the most. So
right. Oh, that's been a good change. That's incredible, and I guess I didn't realize. And so for some of these flights, there are no passengers at all.
Yes, we do. We're doing now cargo only flights. That's a few months ago, I never could have imagined. If you've been flying any time recently, you know that it's you've been stuffed into the airplane with no seats around that are empty, and it's the exact opposite now. It's
do you still get on the PA system and say that really cool stuff that the pilot always says, even though there's no one to hear it?
I try to have an upbeat voice on the PA even today. Or I just go back and talk at a 6-foot distance to the 6 people that are on the airplane.
That's amazing. My God, what an experience. So when you get home from a flight, do you feel like you need to decontaminate at the level that other people do, or you don't really need to because you're not as exposed to, I don't know, other humans during the process?
Right. Well, the scary part about it is, and like I said earlier, I didn't used to have to bring my job home with me, but now I don't know what I'm bringing home with me.
Sure.
I sit in the cockpit with 2, sometimes 3 other pilots, and we're together in a small cramped space for 8, 9, 10 hours. And I don't know what they do on their off time, and how careful they are. We as a family, we're very, very careful, and trying not to spread this around. But I don't know what my coworkers do, and we have people on the airplane. I go to layovers, and I'm in hotels, and I'm just extremely careful while I'm out on the road. And when I come home, we really don't have the ability to quarantine me for 14 days and then go back to work. I would never see anybody. So we agreed as a family to, I kind of quarantine as a family together. And I just am very careful out on the road to not bring any surprises home.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear about your family, but I have one more question about the people who are traveling at this time. I'm sure there's an added tension to people who are on flights, in addition to whatever tension there is in a regular flight when there's no coronavirus. Do you guys do anything to calm them down, or do you feel that once they see that there's no many people, they're much more relaxed? How do you feel the passengers are like?
Yeah, it's kind of like after 9/11. Everybody was very aware of the rules and conscious about everything that's going on. So everybody's cooperating and wearing their masks. And yes, you can tell everybody's a little bit on edge, but we have usually a good crew of flight attendants are all wearing masks. So I think we hand out little care bags of masks and hand sanitizer for the customers, and that helps a little bit. But it's a somber mood. there's just that risk in the air that keeps everybody kind of in a somber tone. The traveling is not that exciting thing to do right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've advocated pumping cannabis into the cabins of airlines for years, but the airlines never listened to me. Can you tell us what you do have at home? Tell us about
Your family.
Tell us about the family.
So, Garrett, my husband and I, we became certified foster parents in October.
Oh,
and we had been working towards that while we were living in New York City. We live in the Hudson Valley now, but while we were in the city, we were going through the training courses, and for whatever reason, it turns out our apartment was not a legal size apartment to be foster parents. So we put that on hold, came up to the Hudson Valley and revisited it. And long story short, we became certified, and not a day later, the ink was not even dried on the paperwork, and the phone rings to see if we were able to take a baby home from the hospital.
Wow.
So we were quite caught off guard, and we didn't really know what to plan for because we opened our home to a child under 6.
All right.
So we didn't know if we should have a nursery or, a tricycle or a two-wheeler. We just had no idea. So
Right.
the phone rings, there's a baby at the hospital, and we drove out there to Westchester, Connecticut, and picked him up. He came home Halloween, and he's been with us ever since, and it's most likely going to end up in adoption.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Fingers crossed.
We didn't know how we were going to feel about fostering and where it would lead and all the stress involved, but it's been, it's just been an amazing experience. Could not replicate it, and would never do anything different. It's just been amazing.
And you said this is a boy or a girl? What did you say?
Little boy, yep.
And
yep.
so he's how old is he
about
now?
to be 7 months old.
Oh, wow.
I have a question that we never asked foster parents. When you foster a baby, do you name him if you get him from the hospital, or the birth mom names him?
The baby is named
Okay.
in order to have a birth certificate. So the baby is named, and we use that name. If it comes time to adopt, then we have the choice of renaming him. And we're kind of up in the air whether we will or not. He fits his name really well and we really like it, so probably would keep it and just change his last name.
Got it. Can you share with us, with all of the tension and crazy around this thing, give us one or two silver linings that you've been experiencing during this pandemic?
Well, we've reconnected with family that we haven't spoken to in quite some time. On Easter, we did a big Zoom call with a screen full of cousins, and I mean, there were so many people on that call, but that was fun. So we've been getting closer with family, and our neighbors are a new family. They just had a baby, so the four of us. It's the quarantine foursome, we call us. We kind of stick it out together, and we would not have been able to do this without being stuck up here in the Hudson Valley together. So that's been amazing.
That's actually really interesting. Are you saying that you guys are going to each other's homes? You're kind of quarantining as a group?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We don't go anywhere else. If I come back from a trip and I have been around nobody, and I have my United gives us an N95 mask for work. So if I've had that on the whole time and I feel comfortable where I was, then we are all together. So kind of consider ourselves a family.
Yeah, we need to get
really
ourselves.
helps.
We need to get ourselves a commune. We really do.
I've always said that.
My final question to you is this. I'd like you to dig deep into your confessional and share with us the most awful thing you have eaten over the last week or two.
Well, my neighbors, they were planning, they had a road trip to go pick up their baby, a 9-hour road trip. So I had planned to make apple cider donuts for them. Ooh. And, they called us and said that the baby was coming early, and they're on the road. They're already gone. I'm like, dang. So I made the apple cider donuts to wait for them. We ate them all. So when they got back, I made another batch, and I gave them a couple, but we've eaten basically 2 entire batches of apple cider donuts, and Like I said, the gyms have been closed for a while, so it may take a while to get rid of these donuts. But
You don't have to
they're
look,
enjoyable.
you don't have to worry, because if the Dreamliner doesn't have any other passengers, then I'm sure we'll be fine no matter how many donuts you eat.
Alex, thank you so much for doing this, for talking to us today.
Thank you, and thank you to all the real frontline workers out there. We're happy to swoop in and resupply you, but you're doing the hero's work.
Hear, hear. All right. Thanks again. Take care, Alex.
Alrighty. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That is clear.